What if I told you that the world once ran on a metal we barely think about today? Not gold, not paper money, silver. For centuries, silver wasn't just jewelry or shiny coins, it was money itself. Empires rose on it. Wars were fought for it. Global trade was powered by it. And then, vanished. Today, barely anyone talks about silver as real money. It's almost forgotten. But that silence hides one of the most incredible economic stories in history, a story that explains how empires rise and how they fall. So what happened? How did silver go from the heartbeat of global trade to a footnote in history books? And could something similar be happening right now with our modern money? Thousands of years ago, long before paper bills or banks, people traded goods directly: grain for livestock, wool for wine. But that got messy fast. People needed a reliable way to measure value. That's when they turned to metal. Not because it was shiny, but because it lasted, could be divided, and was trusted. Silver quickly became a favorite. Archaeologists have found silver pieces used as early money as far back as 3000 BC in Mesopotamia, but it wasn't until around 600 BC that something revolutionary happened: coins. In ancient Lydia, modern-day Turkey, rulers began stamping pieces of metal with marks to prove weight and purity. Suddenly, silver wasn't just a lump of metal, it was guaranteed value. People could trade without weighing or testing every time. That idea spread like wildfire. The Greeks adopted it, then the Persians, then the Romans, and that's where silver truly became the world's first global currency. In Athens, rich silver mines in Laurion funded everything: the navy, the temples, the famous democracy itself. Silver coins with Athena's owl traveled across the Mediterranean, known and trusted everywhere. The Persians used silver too, collecting it as tribute, paying soldiers, running their massive empire with it. And then came Rome. The Roman denarius, a small silver coin, became the backbone of the Roman economy. It paid the legions, funded infrastructure, and unified trade from Britain to Egypt. But here's the catch: once you tie your empire's strength to one metal, you live or die by it. When silver supplies fell, the government did what governments always do under pressure: they cheated. They started mixing silver with cheaper metals. Coins looked the same, but they were worth less. Inflation soared, trust fell. By the time Rome collapsed, the denarius was mostly copper. The world's first great silver empire had eaten itself alive. After Rome fell, silver didn't disappear, it just shifted hands. In the Islamic world, silver coins called dirhams became the backbone of trade from Spain to India. Markets from Baghdad to Cairo ran on silver. Meanwhile, Europe was slowly waking up. Around the 10th century, silver mining took off again in places like Germany, Austria, and Bohemia. The groschen, the pfennig, the golden groschen, all silver coins that helped Europe's medieval economy grow. By the 1400s, silver was once again the blood in the veins of trade. But Europe was about to strike the richest silver vein in history. When Spanish explorers reached the Americas in the 1500s, they found more than gold, they found oceans of silver. The mountain of Potosí in modern-day Bolivia became legendary. It was said to be made of pure silver. From the mid-1500s onward, millions of indigenous and enslaved workers mined it under brutal conditions. The silver was shipped to Spain, then across Europe, Africa, and Asia. It filled royal treasuries, paid armies, and financed wars. Spain became the richest empire on earth, at least on paper. But the silver didn't stay in Europe for long. Across the world, in China, the Ming dynasty had switched its tax system to require payments in silver. That created an endless hunger for it. Chinese merchants traded silk, porcelain, and spices for silver from the West. This set off one of the first global trade systems in history. Spanish galleons crossed the Pacific from Mexico to Manila, trading silver for Asian goods that then flowed back to Europe. For nearly 300 years, silver connected the entire planet. From a mine in Bolivia to a merchant in Beijing, silver was the common language of money. By the 18th and 19th centuries, silver wasn't just valuable, it was official. Most countries used bimetallic systems, meaning their money was tied to both gold and silver. Silver coins dominated everyday trade. In Asia, silver was king. In Latin America, silver mining fueled entire economies. But as technology advanced and trade grew, cracks began to show. The global economy was changing faster than silver could keep up. It started quietly, with overproduction. New mines, better machines, and improved smelting flooded the market. With silver, prices began to fall. Then came paper money. Governments realized they could issue notes backed by trust instead of metal. That meant they didn't need as much silver. The final blow came in the 1870s. In 1873, the US passed the Coinage Act, which stopped making new silver dollars. Many called it the crime of '73. To them, the government had betrayed silver, the money of ordinary people, in favor of gold, the money of the elite. Around the same time, major powers like Britain, Germany, and France dropped silver altogether and went fully gold-based. The gold standard became the new rulebook for global finance. Silver prices crashed. Economies that depended on it, especially in Mexico, China, and India, were devastated. Entire mining towns vanished. Governments defaulted. It was the end of the Silver Age. Imagine this: your savings, your taxes, your debts all valued in silver. Then suddenly, silver is worth half as much. That's what happened across much of the world in the late 1800s. In China, people paid taxes in silver, but earned wages in copper coins. When silver prices dropped globally, the exchange rate shattered daily life. The same chaos spread through Latin America. Silver-rich regions faced collapse. Governments lost revenue. Miners lost jobs. Trade slowed. Economies that had been stable for centuries were thrown into chaos almost overnight. Desperate leaders tried to fix it. Some called for the return of bimetallism, hoping to balance gold and silver again. Others held international conferences to stabilize prices. None of it worked. Silver was too abundant. Gold was too scarce. Paper money was too convenient. The age of metal-backed money was ending, and the age of trust-based money had begun. The 20th century sealed silver's fate. During World War I, nations printed money to fund the war instead of minting coins. Silver coins vanished from circulation. By the 1930s, most countries had dropped metal standards completely. Money was now fiat, meaning it only had value because government said so. Silver was pushed aside, its role reduced to jewelry, industry, and a nostalgic investment. It became what one economist called the people's ghost currency. Always there, but never really alive again. You might think this is just ancient history, but the story of silver is repeating right now in different forms. Empires once depended on silver the way some countries now depend on oil, gas, or debt. When the price dropped, they collapsed. Today, over 30 countries get most of their income from a single export. If that market crashes like silver did, their economies could spiral the same way. Silver seemed eternal, real, tangible, trusted. But trust can break faster than metal can melt. Modern money relies on the same thing: belief. The belief that a dollar is worth a dollar, that banks are stable, that governments can pay their debts. When that belief cracks, everything shakes. In the 1500s, silver connected the world. Today, it's data and digital currency. We've built a global system on ones and zeros, something even more fragile than metal. If history teaches anything, it's that every perfect system eventually fails. Silver may have lost its crown, but its story isn't over. It's still used in phones, solar panels, and medicine. It's still mined, traded, and hoarded in times of crisis. When people lose faith in paper money, they often run back to gold and sometimes to silver. Every time trust in banks or governments wavers, silver prices jump. It's like a ghost reminding us of an old truth. Real value never disappears, it just changes shape. Silver's abundance made it powerful, but also unstable. Too much of a good thing can destroy its own value. Empires, currencies, and technologies all feel permanent until they aren't. Rome's denarius, Spain's silver flood, even the gold standard all ended. So can ours. Silver worked because people believed in it. Fiat money works for the same reason. Once trust is gone, the system breaks no matter what it's built on. When silver died as a global currency, No one thought it would happen so fast. People ignore the warning signs until their savings, their taxes, and their empires were worth half overnight. We're in a similar place today. Our money isn't backed by metal anymore. It's backed by confidence, and that's even harder to mine. So the question isn't, what killed silver? It's, what will kill our money next? If you found this story fascinating, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Gold, the rise, the fall, and the digital gold that might replace it. Drop a comment below. Do you think silver could ever make a comeback? Or is digital currency the next empire waiting to fall? Until next time, remember, empires don't die in battle. They die when their money does.